I did not know how bad the Boogie situation had gotten. So, for those who do not know, this is a mock interview that he is in that is ostensibly there to train him on how to do an interview for a job, I guess. It's so that he can actually learn
Need help?
or, you know, figure out if he even can do an interview. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this and see what's going on. I've done several job interviews, so I guess I'll have a little bit of critique here.
Tell me a little bit about your background and where you think you want to go with the experience that you already have.
Yeah, YouTube was a lot easier for me because I get to set my own hours. I don't know if I can work where I'm supposed to clock in at 9 and check out at 5 every day. So today we're gonna go see a headhunter to see if there's anything out there that would work for me, and I don't want to hit her. What is it with me and my leg today? I rolled my ankle on the way out the door. May as well go on a pair of crutches. That sends the right message. Hi, I'm easily injured. Put me on your workforce.
I mean, okay, so not really. If you just walk in with a set of crutches, it can show that, hey, despite me being injured, despite me being not in the best of shape, I am still willing to do the job. I am still willing to do what is required, right? Also, Boogie's got 4 million subscribers, and somehow this video from 3 days ago only has 70,000 views. So there's a couple of commentary I have on that. When you are a YouTuber, there is the idea of the legacy viewer and legacy viewer drop off. So the legacy viewer is the person who has been watching your channel for years, since its inception, right? And the legacy drop-off is when people who have been subscribed to your channel but do not actually have any want to watch your channel are still subscribed to you. So think of somebody who's subscribed to Boogie from like 10 years ago, right? That person is a legacy subscriber. They're a legacy viewer. But what they're not doing is they are not viewing the content. So they are a legacy subscriber. They are not a legacy viewer. They are not somebody who's been there from the beginning and is still watching now. They are just a number in a bucket. And here's the thing about YouTube. Your subs don't matter. Your subs don't matter at all. Anybody who tells you your subscriptions matter is somebody who doesn't do YouTube full-time. I'm sorry. What matters are your views. That's what matters. Now, to a lesser degree, the amount of views that you get compared to the amount of subscribers you have is important as well, but as far as YouTube's concerned, a view is a view. All that matters to you is getting paid by watch time and how much money is able to come in via that because you have RPM. My channel, for instance, has very low RPM. It's like 4-ish. So whenever 1,000 people view my videos, it ends up translating to about $4 in my pocket. Call it 3 because taxes are a thing. Subscribers will draw viewers to your channel very, very quickly. People are more likely to click subscribe on a channel that has higher numbers than one that has lower numbers. It's just part of the groupthink mentality that human beings do. It's a really, really awkward evolutionary trait to try to wrestle with, but we are more likely to get into an already formed line than to form a line. So we are more likely to subscribe to a bigger channel than we are to subscribe to a smaller channel. That's just how people are. But again, none of that matters because subscribers don't matter. So Boogie's got 4.2 million subscribers, 4.02, and somehow with that many subscribers, he's pulling in 70,000 views. As a reference point, I have 50,000 subscribers, so I have not even what? I have less than 10% of Boogie's subscribers, and an average video of mine probably gets anywhere between 5 to 15,000 views. That's a really good amount for my channel right now because of the type of content that I make. Boogie, on the other hand, Boogie is basically a legend in terms of YouTube. He's one of those people that's been around so long, but for a variety of reasons, some we'll see here in a second, he doesn't actually apparently make enough money off of YouTube to survive. To give you an example, my best year on YouTube, at my level, at 50,000 subscribers, I made 70,000. Between YouTube and Twitch and Patreon and miscellaneous donos, it all together was 70,000. I've only ever made that amount once in my lifetime, and I don't know if I'll ever make that again, but that's the amount that I was able to make off of everything that I had ever done combined. Now, you know, obviously cut that away with taxes and medical expenses and all that other fun stuff, but you get the picture. That's just to kind of paint an idea of what my channel's revenue looks like compared to maybe someone like Boogie's. Theoretically, at 4 million subscribers, you would think you have enough of an install base where you would be able to survive. Most people can survive off of anywhere between $70,000 and $100,000, period. Most people do survive off of much, 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 much less than that. So, I don't know. It feels weird that this arc even has to happen for him, but let's go ahead and see what's going on.
Hi.
Hi, Stephen.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Dawn.
Dawn, I'm Boogie, or Steve.
Okay, what do you prefer to be called?
Honestly, probably Steve. Let's go with Steve.
Okay, Steve. No problem. Whatever you prefer. And so you are here today because you are seeking employment.
Yeah.
You're seeking out new work opportunities.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about your background and where you think you want to go with the experience that you already have.
I did work at a small gaming store back in 2006, 2007. Around 2000, I washed dishes in a Mexican restaurant, but the owner of that business has been deported.
So all that's fine, and it's fine to be self-employed. So tell me a little bit about your current self-employment. Like, what is your most current experience? What do you do?
So I've been making online video for about 17 years. I was one of the original YouTubers to really kind of blow up. And my entire shtick has been about pretending to get angry about video games. I do a character voice like this, you sons of bitches, I can't believe you ruined Diablo 3, this is my favorite game, you know. And the kids liked it. And then I got married.
I feel like just a really quick interjection here. Do not swear at a job interview. Do not. If you are self-employed, your goal in this interview right now, your goal is to sell yourself. Your goal is not to operate as if you being self-employed is some type of issue. Your goal is to operate as if being self-employed is a good thing. So think about it. If you are a content creator, right? If you are a content creator, that means that you wear a ton of hats. You wear the hat of a CEO. You wear the hat of an entrepreneur. You wear the hat of a marketer for yourself. You wear the hat of a graphic designer for yourself. You wear the hat of the creative director. You wear the hat of the idea guy. You wear the hat of every single thing that a video production company can have. You wear the hat of scheduling. You wear the hat of HR. You wear the hat of networking. You wear all of those. Those are all skills that you should have been able to develop as a YouTuber. And these should be transferable skills that can be used in any other department. If you've done YouTube for long enough, then you know enough about marketing to be be a person working in a marketing department. You know enough about working with people to be a networking director. You know enough about the creative process to be a creative director, the person whose job it is to take information inflow and turn it from an idea into an actual product that people can use. You should be able to do all these things. because those are all things that you have to do as a YouTuber. And if you were successful as a YouTuber at any point in time, you did some of these things successfully at some point, right? That's what being a content creator is. It is wearing all of those hats and then succeeding oftentimes on your own outside of the networking and the collaborations and the stuff that you do and the audience that you market. You are still doing this on your own. What Boogie should be doing here in this interview, what he should be doing in this interview is taking all of those skills and saying, hey, I need you to know, these are all the things that I have experience doing. I've been a YouTuber for this amount of time. I've been self-employed for this amount of time. I have made this much amount of money doing this. That means that I know what I'm doing. I know how to market to a niche. I know how to network with like-minded individuals. I know how to direct a creative project. I know how to take an influx of information and translate that into a product. I know how to do all these things. That's what you should be doing in this interview. Let's see if he does.
Divorce 5 years later. And I
don't know why you would talk about divorce in a headhunting interview. That feels strange.
kind of completely and utterly lost my mind. I also got bariatric surgery, so I lost my major coping mechanism, which is food. And now I kind of need to transition into honestly anything, because I'll likely lose my house in the next 6 months if I don't find gainful employment.
Are you currently doing any YouTube?
Okay, so no, don't do any of that. This is all self-sabotage. All of that is self-sabotage. You are, as opposed to marketing yourself, which is your job in a job interview, your goal in a job interview is to treat yourself like a product that is being sold to an employer. Instead of that, he's going, hey, I'm a defective product that cannot be used. That's what he's doing. Now, that may sound mean and vile and, why does Thirst sound like a capitalist today? Well, because the reality of working in the job market is this is how you have to operate. The reality of participation in the system is that you have to use the system's language and mannerisms. That is how it works. So don't bring in your divorce. Don't bring in your unhealthy coping mechanisms. Don't bring in all these negative aspects of yourself. Bring in your positive aspects. Bring in the things you can bring to a team, the ways that you can work on your own. Bring in all of those. Don't shoot yourself in the fucking foot. What?
Stuff. Is that still something you're doing and you're going to continue to do it?
Yeah, I mostly do commentary videos now. I am disabled, recognized by the state of Arkansas, but also the United States government. There's that. Now, the downside of that is I am extremely depressed. So there's some mental health issues that we bring to the table. And
you don't bring your mental health issues to the table. Your job. Okay, so here's a fun thing. Here's a fun thing that happened. I was a McDonald's manager at one point, all right? I was a McDonald's manager, and do you know what I was able to do when I was getting ready to go in for that interview? For the interview, for being manager, for having that position, for being the person who has to take care of other people as my job. When I was in that position, the fact that I had to go see a psychiatrist at some point, the fact that I had dealt with major anxiety and I had at that point managed to resolve most of those issues, instead of going, I have all these mental health issues and I bring them to the table, I went, hey, these are things I recovered from. That means when other employees are suffering from these, if somebody's having an anxiety attack, if somebody's having a panic attack, if somebody is struggling with depression on the job, I can be the person they talk to. I can be the person that can basically operate as a stand-in for HR, that can talk to that person, help that person through their issues, help that person figure out what is going on, help that person figure out how to cope with being in a dark place. You have to take what seems like a negative and you have to turn it into a positive. It is very easy to do. It is not difficult at all to take any negative trait about yourself and turn it into a positive. Oh, so you have an eating disorder. That means you have the ability to talk to people who have similar problems in their lives and help them through them, because you know what it's like to deal with those things. You are able to work at the company for a long period of time dealing with those disorders. You are able to take other people who might be dealing with that, and you are able to help coax them through that so that productivity of the company can no longer be impeded by these issues. That's the way you have to operate. So does that count for autistic meltdowns as well? If you know how to cope with an autistic meltdown, if you know how to figure that shit out, then you can go, hey, one of the things I bring to the table, I myself am, just if I were in your shoes, you would go, hey, I am autistic, and that does not actually bring any negatives to the table here, but it does mean that if there are any workers in my environment who are neurodivergent, I will all automatically be able to assist with them better, because I don't have to sympathize with them. I get to empathize with them. I get to put myself in their shoes, and I can go, hey, here's what I did to help myself when I was in a similar situation to yours. You know how to recognize those signs of when somebody is having information overload. You know how to recognize the signs of when somebody is about to have an attack. You know how to recognize those areas where somebody needs to develop a coping skill, and you can transfer your coping skills onto them, or at least help them a little bit on the way there. So yes, you can take, I have had autistic meltdowns, and you can use that as a leaf note in a job interview in order to work, especially if you're trying to go in somewhere that's like human resources, right? Or especially if you're trying to be team lead, anything like that. You can use those experiences and turn them into skills that a team can need, that a team will need. Because there's going to be somebody who's neurotypical on that team, guaranteed, who's not going to understand why Steve in accounting is looking like they're having an off day. And they're going to try to approach them in a way that is not going to be kosher, but you're going to know how to approach them. There you go. Do that. Anyway.
Then physically, I am morbidly obese. I have no references, no work history, and no education. And when you Google my name, you might see rumors that I beat my ex-wife and I'm also a pedophile. But that could be an issue for employers that would research me. So if we can find someone who won't Google me, that would be good.
We can find somebody who won't Google me. My guy, your job right now should not be finding somebody who won't Google you. Because they're going to end up getting, like, okay, you're going to get a job with somebody who's not going to know who you are, and then somebody's going to walk through that door who does know who you are, and then suddenly you're going to be in a pickle. Suddenly you're going to be in a pickle. And most every job on some level does a background check. Your job right now is to be able to come to that employer with the ability to defend against those allegations. I'm sorry. They're going to go, hey, we see this little bit in your history, and we had some questions about that. And your job is to go, understood. There's a huge misconception here about what these things are. Here's the situation. I am a large content creator, and therefore anything that I do gets put under a huge lens, and that lens caused X, Y, and Z to blow out of proportion. That's how you would handle that with an employer. You already have the tools in your rucksack. Just point out to people, hey, because of the nature of my job, I will make enemies, and those enemies have certain things to say about me. That should be as easy as that is, and yet somehow a person who has had to wear the hat of an HR department, the person who has had to wear the hat of a marketing director, because you're a content creator, you've had to wear those hats, does not know how to spin that. Okay, sure.
Well, that's difficult. I mean, I can't submit your resume to a client and then request that they don't Google.
And then,
yeah, no, this is just self-sabotage. So, I'm gonna have a theory of what's going on here. My theory of what's going on here is what Boogie's goal is to create a narrative that he is so unemployable that it is impossible for him to work. He has to convince everybody that he is so unemployable, that he is so pitiable, that they will have to continue to support him in what he does. That's what he's doing right now. And maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I don't feel like I am here. I feel like it's pretty reasonable to say somebody here is either ridiculously inept at communication, or alternatively, they're very adept at communication and are deliberately self-sabotaging and then posting the self-sabotage on their channel because that will cause people to look at what they're doing and go, man, I remember when I liked Boogie's content. I should probably go subscribe to his Patreon or something. Make people feel sorry for you. That's what this seems to be for.
And physically, I'm easily injured. Like, I injured myself coming here today. I twisted my ankle. And then my work ethic is not great because of the depression and stuff.
No, stop blaming your mental issues on your work ethic. Your work ethic and your depression are separate issues. Some of the most depressed people in the world have amazing work ethics, and some of the most neurotypical people in the world are just lazy fuckers. Was he convicted of anything? I don't know. I don't know all the Boogie lore. I don't know all the Boogie lore. Yeah, work ethic is your ability to motivate yourself or to be motivated. Your depression can cause that to be harder to do, but it does not make it impossible. It does not make it impossible. And you have to be terminally online and have no social experiences whatsoever to think otherwise. I'm sorry.
Stuff. So I mean, I do have some pretty big references. Keemstar, he probably put in a good word, or kid behind the camera. You know, kid behind the camera.
So here's the thing: these are names that mean something to people who are on the internet. We're just gonna go ahead and use the politically correct term. Most normies have no idea who the fuck Keemstar is. They have no idea who the fuck Boogie is. They have no idea who any of these people are. And they won't have any idea who any of these people are because they don't spend their time on YouTube. Most normal people might have seen your content at some point or seen somebody else's content at some point, scrolling through a YouTube short, scrolling through TikTok. But by and large, the average day for most people is get up, get breakfast, go to work, come home, de-stress. Either de-stress by playing a video game or de-stress by watching TV. And if they have YouTube on, it might be in the background. But here's another fun thing about YouTube. A lot of people who watch YouTube have about anywhere between 3 and 10 creators that they watch. And they tend to stay in that bubble. And sometimes they move out of it. Sometimes, most of the time, they don't. That's for most people. You're not going to find people who just automatically know the names you're trying to throw out. When you're like, yeah, no, Keemstar could be a reference for me. She's going to go, who is Keemstar? As opposed to fishing for names, here's what you would do. Here's what you would do. Ma'am, I have a reference who is a marketing and presentation head of a multimedia company that is known for holistic coverage of the news. It is an independent company, but I do have a reference from the head of the company, the guy at the tippy top. I do have this reference, and it is here, and I can use it. I don't like Keemstar, But guess what I just did? I just communicated what he's the fuck trying to communicate in her language, in the way she's gonna understand it, in the way it fucking matters. Keemstar matters as a name for us drama poisoned people on the internet. But when you're talking to somebody like this, you're not going, here's Keemstar, do you recognize the name? You're supposed to go, there's this multimedia company. It's this big. It services this many people. The head of that company would vouch for me. That's what you do. That is how you manage that.
McJuggernuggets might. I worked with him. I had owned a small company with him. He's a big guy.
Okay.
Maybe Angry Grandpa Charles Green, but
So you do have some people that you could reach out to and call upon to give an example of what their experience was working with you.
Yeah, I can't say that it would be a glowing review, but it would be.
Man, I have to wonder, when working with content creators, what is it like to have destroyed so many of your relationships that you could not have a glowing review with them? I can only think of maybe 2, 3. I can maybe think of 3 content creators I've worked with over the entire course of my channel in 6 years who would not recommend me. I can only think of them. And maybe they still would, but there's personal beef that has caused that. But like, outside of that, every single person I've ever collaborated with, I still maintain a rapport with to this day. Sans maybe 1 or 2 individuals where it's been super inconvenient to. It speaks to an inability to foster long-term relationships. If you're just like, yeah, these are people I've worked with. No, they wouldn't recommend me. That speaks to a really awkward inability to foster a long-term relationship in a working sense.
A review. Should mention I'm also a felon.
Okay. What's the nature of your felony?
Aggravated assault.
How old is it?
About 2 years.
Okay. So I think there are some avenues you could explore. I definitely don't think it's impossible, but you have some challenges.
Yeah.
Lots of things in life are about your mindset, and you're using weight and disability. I can't. If that is the attitude that you're going to have when you approach everything, then you can't. And you won't.
Yeah, no, that is definitely true. That is definitely true. Like, you cannot, if you have the mindset that you cannot do something, then you just won't do it, because your brain will just go, oh, but I can't do it. You think, oh, I can't succeed. How can I possibly succeed at YouTube? I can't. I don't think I can't succeed at YouTube. I don't think I can't grow bigger. I don't think I can't do these things. I think I can. I think that the deck is stacked against me here, but it's stacked against everybody, and other people succeed, so why can't I? Nox says, kudos to the mock interviewer for genuinely helping him and taking it all in stride. Yeah. Like, honestly and truly, this should not be this hard. Mary Marigold says, I'm struggling with that, trying to draw. I do some circles practice and just get frustrated and give up. I'd say just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Like, I can understand it being frustrating, but you still gotta keep at it. Gotta remember, the only one judging you for how you're doing is you. And you will always be your worst critic. You will always be the person who hates what you're doing more than anyone else.
Well,
I did work in the porn industry for the better part of 7 years, so I mean...
Be real with me. Do you really think it would be a good idea to go to a real interview and reference porn?
It depended on the job, I would think.
No, it doesn't really depend on the job. You don't do that. When you go to your interview, don't curse. When you go to your interview, don't reference porn. When you go to your interview, don't do these things. I say this as somebody who has gotten a job by talking about League of Legends. I still would not recommend doing so. I still would not recommend doing it. The fact that it can work does not mean that it always will, and it does not mean that you should try it. Is he really this out of touch? He's been working as a content creator for 17 years. 17 years. Apparently, in that time, this man has not touched a W-2. This man has not done anything at all. Not even in the slightest. Now, granted, if you are a content creator... Hold on. Myth is in lib. Here for the rare spawns. The reason that you should not be this out of touch, though, is even if you have not worked in these fields, you have an audience of people who've worked in these fields. You go to the store. You know what the rising prices have looked like. You know what the work environment has looked for other people. It's like how you can understand that people's jobs are hard even if you're not working in their jobs. You shouldn't be this out of touch. You should be able to understand how to handle these things. And yet somehow he does not. Here's the thing, though. I don't think he doesn't understand these things. I don't think he doesn't understand these things. I think the most charitable read of this would be that he doesn't understand. But I don't think I can give that kind of charity here, because this does not seem like just somebody who's super out of touch. This seems like deliberate self-sabotage. This seems like what happens when somebody is doing everything in their power to fuck up their chances. Like, ask yourself, when you've gone to a job interview, anybody in chat, when you've gone to a job interview, have you thought for a minute to even consider going, hey, I used a camera when fucking my girlfriend once, so I made porn, so I definitely know how to do videography. Like, that's not how you would sell that to somebody.
Like, at a strip club maybe, but probably not in a more professional setting, I would say.
Yes, I would say that.
What would you think his chances are here of getting employment in the next 3 months?
Tell me.
I'm not sure.
Everything.
When it comes to the felony, we would have to seek corporate approval for that sort of charge in order to proceed forward with a candidate. And they would ultimately be the ones to make the decision as to whether or not we would feel comfortable presenting someone like that to our clients.
Secrets.
Yeah, it's more than just the felony. Boogie was unable to gain
Lift
corporate
the secrets
approval.
from your flesh.
Jesus Christ. Watch the full-length film on Mike Klum's channel. So, why would you endorse this as a documentary? You're literally just going, look at what I've done. I have failed. I am a failure. Look at everybody. Watch me fail. What? Why would you market yourself that way? That doesn't make any sense to me. Not really. So it does seem like clout chasing. It feels weird, right? It feels really weird. Nothing in this situation looks correct. There we go. Yo. It kind of hurts, though, seeing something like this, because you ask yourself when you're seeing this, is this the fate that every streamer, is this the fate that every content creator gets to look forward to? Because fame is fleeting. Fame is fleeting. It's very, very fleeting. You get your moment in the sun, you get your moment where everybody loves what you're doing, it lasts a few years, and then you start falling into obscurity where the only thing you have available are your legacy viewers anymore. And if you can't keep your legacy viewers, then what happens to you? ZD Mackin says because he wants pity or because he thinks it will make him money, going with the any publicity is good publicity. Like, you do have to ask yourself when looking at this, is this the fate that content creators will eventually have? Because this feels very, like, sad, washed-up celebrity. It feels very, very sad, washed-up celebrity. Ninja says, again, with this interview, I'm willing to buy him... With this interview, I'm willing to buy him a new house. He might not like that the house is 1 tarp and 550 feet of paracord, but the camp shower should make him feel better. Jesus. It's sad. It's sad. But that's where I gotta ask you guys. What do you think about the situation? I've given my 2 cents pretty thoroughly here. I've also hopefully given people some kind of information that will help in figuring out, hey, here's how you handle a job interview without just ripping yourself apart for no good reason. So hopefully y'all gained something out of this. Chat wanted me to look at the Boogie interview. I've now looked at the Boogie interview. We're going to continue going through Scarlet Monastery now. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Go into the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are down there. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, everybody, insert end the video tagline here. Welcome to a very special fan art section. Very special because I'm about to cringe my pants off. But if you know what this is from Jet Fatigue. And if you don't know what the audio is from, I'm about to curse your ears.
Noses your Nicky Wicky till day or till day hee hee. Take me home, pet me and make me yours and don't forget to stuff me. See me wag my little baby tail for your bulgy wulgy. Kisses and lickies your neck. Gotta hit him with this furry shit. You don't see it coming.
Yeah. We're gonna go to the credits. I'm just leaving you with that. Deal with it.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep the show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability that Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you. I'm not saying that part. And Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.